Cannabis for me was a last resort. I did all the pharmaceuticals, I did the opiate pain pills, I did all of the traditional Western medicine. If it comes out of a pharmacy and a doctor prescribed it, then it must work. It must be okay. It must be safe. And for myself, became very disillusioned with that because my life was not improving. It was only getting worse. My name is Jennifer Axcell. I am the program chair on the board of directors for This Is Jane Project. I'm also the program director for This Is Jane Project and the Denver chapter coordinator. I started with This Is Jane Project, I think it's about 3 years ago now. Before we were an official nonprofit, our founders started out having conversations in backyards as fellow trauma survivors, having conversations and destigmatizing and normalizing those tough conversations and utilizing cannabis to help confront, manage trauma. I was working in the cannabis industry already and doing a lot of work with veterans, and really recognizing that that brotherhood and sisterhood in arms had a natural community built around that, and their ability to connect over shared experiences was incredibly healing. And there wasn't a lot of space like that for everybody else, especially if it wasn't a specific trauma. And that's one of the things This Is Jane Project does really well, is to create that safe space for all of those traumas to come together and heal in community. One of our biggest programs is our Survivors Without Access program, and that is the facilitation of donated medicine through compliant supply chain in California and Colorado. In other states where we do events as well, but getting donated medicine into the hands of trauma survivors. We also do a bunch of virtual programming. Our Healing Happy Hours on the fourth Wednesday of every month is a time for our Janes to come together, because there is no one type of trauma that we serve. There's no one size fits all solution to addressing that trauma. I'm not a medical professional, so I'm not qualified to be talking about how cannabis can specifically address unique symptoms of trauma, because that trauma manifests differently in everybody. But what I can say for me and what it has done is really helped me to soften, which is above and beyond what cannabis has been able to do for physical maladies that I have faced. But with regards to emotional traumas, it has made a world of difference in helping me to confront myself and the role that I have played in my experiences, in disassociating myself from the traumas themselves, and to be able to witness those, if you will, without being further traumatized. I think it's really important to have access to cannabis trained medical professionals and to ask questions about potential pharmaceutical interactions, and really making sure that, like for myself, when I first started, I was just really stoned all the time because I didn't know there was another way to do it. And while my symptoms did improve, I wasn't exactly functioning, if you will. There's a lot of people too afraid to ask their clinician questions. And so having a service like Leafwell, where people can actually talk to a cannabis trained medical professional, is incredibly important to destigmatization. There's so many different ways to help survivors really move into a place where we are no longer defined by our trauma, but defined as a survivor, and what that looks like and how we live our lives. So building more programming that supports Janes in all the various different stages that they are at, and growing into more cities. We are going to be in New York, we're going to be in Manhattan later this year, and really just getting some more funding so that we can continue to grow into more cities, into more states, because the need is there. So growth, and more growth means that many more people that we are able to support so that they can thrive.